We've been on YouTube for 13 years. We have 260 million views. We've been doing this for a while.
3,500 years of viewing time, $1.2 million from YouTube.
Okay, so we've learned quite a few things, and we wanted to share with you all the things that we wish we knew before we ever started, or even just earlier in our careers. Everything from dealing with the haters and brand deals, how to make sure you don't get taken advantage of, and how to create content that's going to stay around and help you build a business. But first, speaking of sponsors, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Squarespace. They've been with us for over 10 years, and they make great websites happen. If you want a place where you can host your photos, your business, get contacted by clients, or even put down deposits on the site, you can go to squarespace.com/Chelsea and just try it for 14 days, see if you like it. And if you do, use the coupon code Chelsea to get 10% off. That's CHELSEA.
I do believe every creator should have their own website, independent of social media, where you can just tell people, just introduce yourself to people who might be searching for
I have a Squarespace.
And it includes things like search engine optimization. So if they search for your name, it can be the first thing that comes up. Thanks for sponsoring us, Squarespace.
All right, this advice is in no particular order of importance. Maybe the last one is the most important. But we're going to say, don't let the adoration go to your head.
You're going to get love. If you succeed, you might even get a little bit famous. People will meet you in the street and tell you how much they meant to you. That's the best case scenario. But some people, that goes to their head.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't. Also,
don't let the hate go to your head, because you're going to get both.
Every person who gets any amount of fame gets people who love them and people who hate them. Both of them are invalid. You do not deserve either one. You're just a person like everybody else.
Yeah, but I think that now it's interesting because you don't even have to get huge to experience this effect. Mm-hmm. And I see this on social media all the time, where someone will have a moderate following and they're still getting people harassing them or really negative attention. And it can be very difficult to deal with. We've been lucky enough to be around our peers on YouTube a lot, and this is something that a lot of people have struggled with. The thing over time that I've learned is that when I recognize I can't take any of it personally, the adoration or the hate, that they don't know me, that I don't know them, that it's not even necessarily personal, that whatever they write may have nothing to do with me, maybe they just had a bad day, it's easier to separate from it and realize that's just not real.
Mini tip, do not read YouTube comments before bed.
Yeah.
Skip them.
I realized that actually I had a harasser for a while that was going on all my social media and just really harassing me. This was early in my career, and it hurt, like stomach ache in the morning, scared. I think we got a security system because there were like threats involved. And years later, the person came back and was like, I was in a really bad place. I was off my medication. I'm so sorry. So it had nothing to do with me the whole time. So you just can't take it personally, because you'll be holding a lot of negative emotions that it's just not warranted.
When we first started our YouTube channel, we weren't anybody that anybody cared about. We were just regular folk, right?
Yeah,
it never occurred to me that if I put my name, address, my daughter on YouTube, that would become a problem for me in the future. But get a few 100 million views, and some people show up at the house that weren't invited. People, if we posted a picture on vacation, they would recognize where we were and just show up there. And that's not stuff I like. We had creeps contact our daughter on her social media. I wish I could have kept all of that secret. I would get an LLC or an S Corp, some kind of business structure with a separate address, and do all my business in that so people couldn't find me. I wouldn't use my real name. I do, like Gerald Undone did this correctly. Undone is not his last name. He hid his identity so people couldn't find him and show up at his house. That is the way you should do it. In the best case scenario, which is you are so successful, people might show up at your house.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be that successful to attract the wrong person.
Right, it just takes one person.
It really takes one person, and that one person that was really harassing me, it was early, we weren't really known still, we were still small. So people can get kind of fascinated with you, or they can get obsessed with you, and you want to protect yourself against that.
Let's talk about actually making decent money from content. Everybody thinks they want to go viral, so they try to latch on to the latest trend. That's
Going
fine.
viral's cool. That's fun.
But you can actually make way more money making evergreen content. When I look at the content we've made over the 13 years, all the content that has been the most successful, gotten the most subscribers, made the most money, is what we call evergreen content, which is stuff that is not viral. It's stuff that is still useful 5, 10 years out. It's stuff that people find organically. And organic means people go to Google and search for that topic. So as I look at the content that's made us the most money, I did an FAA certification guide for people with drones. That's made $32,000. But that's the opposite of clickbait. It's like 2 hours long of me just going on and on with test preparation facts. It's not something that's going to go viral, but people search for it, they revisit it, it's long content. Our other most popular videos, like beginning photography fundamentals, is 7 hours of video training. It's made like $6,000 in just a couple of years. The viral stuff doesn't make that much money.
No, but the viral stuff does get you seen. So I think that a mixture is good. And so, you know, shooting for being viral and getting a lot of eyes on you and getting your name out there, it's good to know that that's what that is for. But making helpful content that will last a long time and be searched for a long time will not only make you money, but will show that you're like a serious expert in your space or someone that contributes in a more long-lasting way. So mix it up. Consider making something long format, even if it's more grueling, like a long tutorial.
And it's not just money. Like when people stop us in the street, they thank us for making this tutorial.
That's
it's never,
true.
Thank you for making that viral video that popped off. Nobody ever says that.
No, not as much. But yeah, people really like your FAA certification video.
Let's talk about working with sponsors, because that's really where the money is. You'll make more money from sponsors than you will with YouTube ads on every platform, but YouTube included.
Yeah, this one is tough because a lot of people don't know where to break in. I think that breaking in can be the most difficult part. When we first started, it was a lot of getting offered like free stuff in exchange for a video.
I was so flattered. They're like, hey, would you like to review this USB battery charger? We'll send you one for free. And I was like, whoa, I'm on the map. I'm getting a $30 USB battery charger. And I did that a couple of times and I regretted it every time. What a mistake. You get a $30 piece of junk. But then they're hounding you to put the video out. They're complaining. They want to review the video. They're complaining you didn't pronounce some word right or you didn't mention some point. And next thing you know, you spent like a week working for a $30 piece of junk that you didn't want in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would be a good exercise for you to see how that process works, but you really want to consider what you're taking and what your time is worth, and if your audience will even like it. So if you're just taking every free thing or every person that comes to you, and not considering, do I like this, will my audience like it, then you might not get a lot of traction with your audience or build a lot of trust with them. It's nice to find something that you actually like and can get a sponsorship, but that can be difficult, right? So if you know other creators in your space, you can help each other find sponsorships, and I've certainly passed along the contacts I have with companies to other people that I know, to help everybody get a deal.
I'd suggest working directly with sponsors whenever possible. We work directly with Squarespace. In the case of KEH, they sell used camera gear. I was buying and selling a bunch of camera gear and I liked them and I reached out. I said, why don't we work together? Like, I really like your service. But you'll get a lot of offers from middlemen. There must be 100 of these groups where they work with a whole bunch of advertisers, a whole bunch of creators, and they will put together a package for the advertiser. And they sort of advertise that they make everything easier for both sides, but really they take a big chunk of the money that's to be made, and they don't care about the quality of the content.
All of my least favorite deals have been done with the middlemen companies, and it's not just because of money. It's often they don't care about the final vision. We did a deal with a big brand, and they were insisting on telling us how to make the video because the brand didn't know us. The middleman knew us, and the middleman just wanted to make money from the brand. So it was like no one was really caring what was going on but us, and the content that needed to be made was not getting made. Other times, you can make a good relationship through one of these middlemen companies, and then as soon as they find a similar creator who will charge less, they'll dump you for them to make a bigger profit margin. They are so much more experienced and crafty about it that they can kind of work negotiations and contracts that are a little more predatory. I avoid working with the middlemen as much as possible and just like to go direct with companies. Every single deal we're doing now is direct, even all of them.
I talked earlier about making evergreen content. That's smart. But for sponsored content, especially new sponsors, it makes a lot of sense to try to go viral at first because sponsors, they don't look 5 years out. They want to see results in a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks is like the longest vision that any sponsor seems to have. So save your viral content for sponsored videos, especially new sponsors.
And viral content is going to be topicals. Like, you can learn about things that go viral by studying people who are viral and keeping track of what their thumbnails and titles look like. What's emotional about it? What grabbed you? What makes you click on videos? You're going to be studying those things to figure it out.
We only have long-term relationships with sponsors right now.
Yeah.
Every time a sponsor approaches us, I think, is that somebody I could be working with in 5 years? Can we develop this long-term relationship? But then that leads me to want to make it as successful as possible for them. I know people who take on a sponsor and just give them their worst video and put no effort into the spot because they're going to get paid once and then never talk to that sponsor again. But with all of our sponsors, I want it to be a short-term success and a long-term success.
We're actually helping them build their company most of the time.
Well, the secret is we actually like the products.
Yeah.
Not everybody cares, but we actually care. And we wouldn't take the sponsorship unless we were pretty passionate about what we were selling. So that lets us sell better because we are actually sincere about it.
If you like what you're passing on to your audience and you believe in it, you will mean it and they will try it and they will like it and it will work. So mean it. Be honest. And speaking of, I got to plug our sponsor, Squarespace. So we have been working with them for 10 years. And when I first started using them, when I first looked into them, I was actually trying to make a website with another site provider I can't mention. And it was really complicated. My plugins kept on crashing. My design was horrible. I had different fonts all over. It looked sloppy. And I gave up on it. I didn't even finish it. But then I tried Squarespace and everything was so easy. It was drag and drop. They already did the design. All of the fonts were unified. It looked professional. I finished it in like 30 minutes. And I said to myself, I needed this. And I know if I need this, other people do too. And that's how our relationship with Squarespace was born. I still believe in it. I still think it's beautiful. I still have the same website and I still update it regularly because it's fun, it's easy to do, and it makes me look good. So try your very own. You can try it for free for 14 days. And if you decide you want to buy it, go to squarespace.com/Chelsea and use the coupon code Chelsea to get 10% off. It saves you 10%, but it lets Squarespace know that we're still doing a good job after all of these years. So thanks to all of you for your support, and thanks Squarespace.
Some more advice that I've learned the hard way. Maybe don't feel like you need to put a lot of energy into every social media platform. I know people do this successfully.
It's tough
But
because you don't want to miss out on the next hot platform.
I know. So I've chased TikTok, I've chased Instagram, I've
Remember
chased
Clubhouse?
YouTube Shorts.
There's a lot that have...
Club Penguin?
No, not Club Penguin. I think it was called Clubhouse, where everybody would go like chat live.
Oh,
and then Threads popped up.
Must be before my time.
No, it really wasn't. It was like last year, Tony. No, but there's been more little things like that where they pop up and everyone wants to be first to it, because if you can be first to it, your chances are better that you will be successful.
But it's all a distraction. We talk to the popular creators on Instagram and TikTok, and they're like, how do I get on YouTube? That's where the money is.
Well, I think that it's okay to do those things, but have a purpose. You don't just go on there and I've made the mistake. My Instagram was popular at one time and there was no point to it. I'd just go on there and be like, look at my picture.
I'm just saying, YouTube is definitely the best platform for people who want to make a living.
Yes.
People who want to do it full time.
Yes, I agree. And what I'm saying is that if you have another platform like Instagram or TikTok, you're not going to be making creator funds from that. You're not going to be making a lot of money from that. So have a point. It might be to bring people to your YouTube or to your store or to your workshops or get clients, but make sure that there's a point to it.
We review camera gear, right?
Yes.
And nobody nitpicks more than we do. I'm doing 4K video side by side with two different cameras. Mm-hmm. I'm zooming in like 800% to see which one has the most noise, which one is the sharpest. No, nobody really cares. Like this podcast, we're using $900 cameras that are like 6 years old, and it's only in HD because nobody cares. We do 4K 60 sometimes. It looks nice. It looks better. But honestly, nobody cares. A lot of the top channels are still doing full HD. Heck, a lot of the camera manufacturers post their videos in full HD. Most people are watching it like on their phone, held vertically, so you're like the size of a thumbnail. Some people watch it on... Don't worry so much about the camera gear. Don't go spending thousands of dollars on an expensive camera because you think you need 8K or 4K.
Yeah.
invest in good mics, get some good lighting, build out a studio, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but don't worry so much about the technical specs of the camera. Get yourself in focus. That's the most important
get yourself
thing.
in focus. If that stuff's your passion, go for it. People like some of the glammy stuff, but if you're not accelerating in that area, it's fine if you don't have the latest and the greatest stuff.
People do fine with their phone, honestly.
Yeah, they do.
Fine with it.
One of the things I think that is really attributed to our success that I wish we had figured out earlier was workflow. And we figured out how to be efficient, which doesn't sound sexy or cool at all, but I think it was one of the keys to us growing so fast. One of the ways that we did that is we designated a studio space. I think a lot of people know that tip, but then you don't have to tear down your camera and your mic every time. Everything's in one spot. You can sit down without getting distracted.
Oh, we used to try to film in the living room, but every time we wanted to film, we'd have to like clean up the whole living room. You're putting like your kids' toys away and vacuuming up the dog hair, and now you're like an hour into it just to film once, and then the next day it's all a mess again. So having just a space that nobody goes into for any other reason, even if it's just a corner of a room,
yeah,
can
a
save you
closet.
so much time.
Just even a closet or
Yeah.
something. It doesn't have to be huge and fancy. It's about efficiency and even recognizability as far as the space goes. And then another thing with efficiency is our formats became efficient. So earlier I talked about our live streams. Every Thursday we had a live show. And not only did it build community and bring a lot of people into our channel, but it took away a lot of the creator burnout of having to think of something new all the time. We knew where we would be. It would be Thursday at 5 o'clock. We knew exactly the format. We didn't have to think about it, and we got out a weekly video.
And no post-processing.
And because it was live, no post-processing, yeah. So we still keep to a routine. We do 2 podcasts a month, 2 news pieces. The podcasts happen here. The news pieces happen over there. And then we know we're going to do like a tutorial or review or something. So that takes a lot of the mental energy away, the burden of thinking something new every time.
The unsexiest part of workflow is just having redundancy and backups. Because at some point you're going to be filming something and your memory card is going to fail. And then you're not going to know it until you get home. And then you're going to have to go back and reshoot. Now you're behind schedule. You're probably going to have to work late if you wanted to keep your schedule up. Or you're going to get home and the video's fine, but the audio is screwed up because your mic became a little bit unplugged. Get cameras with 2 memory cards. Get microphones that have internal recording. After you film, go back on the back of the camera and make sure that it's in focus and it sounds okay. And then when you upload it, I'm still trying to learn this lesson, after you upload it to YouTube, watch it back, because sometimes stuff happens in the render, like our Canon R5 review recently. The audio was all screwed up. It was not the mics, because it was fine when I was editing it. It happened in render. Yeah. Final Cut decided to amplify things and peak things.
I've had titles
I just uploaded
drop.
it and trusted it.
I've had titles just drop.
Oh yeah, and you get like a red triangle on the screen and everybody comments on it. Driving engagement.
Yeah, actually it does drive engagement. They're like, I hate your audio. And you're like, we have the most comments. And I think there's a lesson in that too. You don't have to take everything so hard. It's just, mistakes happen. It's okay.
Outsource what you can. Mm-hmm. If you can find a video editor who matches your style, who does a good job, outsource it. If you can't, often it's better to do it yourself. Everybody needs to know how to edit. You need to know how to get good sound. Because if nothing else, you should be the final step in that process. You can't outsource everything.
No.
But take as much of the load off yourself as you can, at least once you get a little bit successful and you have some money to share with other people.
I outsourced our bookkeeping because it's so boring.
Bookkeeping sucks.
It hurts me. Okay, really important but boring. Learn contracts, negotiation, and all about the exploitation that does happen in this industry. And that's because you'll have people far more sophisticated, knowledgeable, and experienced negotiating with you on money, something people aren't typically nice or generous about. We've had people in contracts try to take some of the rights to our books. They've taken more of our time and value than we realized. We had one recently where a software company asked us to make like a little ad, and then they just wouldn't stop running the ad because we didn't define the terms, because I didn't think anyone would be that big of a monster, but they were a middleman company, not the company itself. And I've always had problems with those middlemen. I just don't ever want to work with them again. Mm-hmm. Check your contracts, check the terms. If they want to use your video in any other place for a longer amount of time than like a couple months, then you should be charging for that, and you should be explicit with the terms. And then you can research them by Googling them, looking on Reddit, seeing other people's experiences with the company, or asking your peers.
Yeah, make friends who are also YouTubers.
Yeah.
And before you sign a contract, give them a call and say, hey, have you dealt with so-and-so? What are they like? And if you're comfortable with it, ask what they paid. Because it's really good to share how much you make on any given contract. Because the other person, if they're being paid less, well, they're going to drag your pay rate down too. Because advertisers will go to the cheapest creator. And they'll take all the money, but they'll be underpaid for it.
If you're charging more, tell your friends so they can charge more too.
Yeah, and if your friend is charging more, raise your rate so you're not dragging theirs down, but also because you want to make more money.
A
right?
rising tide raises all boats, so don't be greedy with information.
Yeah, but they can also tip you off like, okay, they were such a pain in the review process. They made me go back 3 times to change it. It was not worth it.
Or scope creep. They want a
Scope
video
creep.
and now
Yeah.
they want to do X, Y, Z. It can be really a nightmare, so communicate. But also it can benefit you too, because I've talked to other creators about brand deals and they've made me like 50% more than I thought I could charge just by being open with me. So help each other out, even though it's a very competitive space. One that has been important to me, I told you that my goal was like 1 million subscribers, and then I was kind of disappointed because it didn't make me feel anything. I realized holding on to my values was way more important. So write down why you're doing this and what's important to you. Is it to share information and educate people? Is it to entertain people and just make them laugh and feel good? Write it down and then don't let people push you off their mark, because if you get successful, or even if you're not, people are going to try to buy your goals away from you because they just want a piece of your value. So don't waver and go back to those notes and remember all of the time why you do what you do. We have a sticky note over here as a reminder,
Yeah.
and it says, we're here to teach
And to bring something positive into
and to
the
bring
world.
something positive into the world.
Yeah.
Tony, I wrote this down as what I think is the number one most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never lose your ability to play. And a lot of people struggle with this, whether you gain success or not. It's really difficult to hold on to that joyful spark that got you doing this in the first place. And if you do gain success, it's going to be easy for people to buy it away from you a little bit at a time. Like, oh, well, I don't really want to do this video, but I'll do this one. I don't really want to go to this event, but I'll go to this event. I don't really want to do this collab, but I'll do this collab because I think it's good for me. And before you know it, your whole life is things you don't really want to do because. So don't forget the joy that brought you here. And if you don't believe me, think of all of your favorite creators that make videos. I'm burnt out. I'm taking a break. I'm quitting YouTube. I'm not doing reviews anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm so sad. I'm depressed, blah, blah, blah. I've made them. It's because people will buy you away from yourself. So don't lose your joy. Don't lose your spark, and don't let anyone buy it away from you. And you will be able to do this for a very, very long time.
That's beautiful, Chelsea.
Thank you so much. Have you lost your joy?
Sometimes, but I still manage to find it in different ways. I do a lot of
know.
videos that are just for me and nobody else cares. And I'm like, this is not going to get any views, but I'm doing it for me.
Yeah, I see that. You can still get, I know you haven't. I asked you, but I know you haven't because you still get fired up.
Yeah.
And before you do a news piece, can you believe what blah, blah, blah did? And this, blah, 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 and you're really passionate. And people need to know about this.
Yeah.
And you believe in what you're telling people, and it's important for you to get the message out. And someone could pay you to say exactly what they want you to say, but you don't let them do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Let us know down below if you have any other tips or if you have any questions for us about how to get your career off the ground or how to make social media work for you. And thank you, Squarespace, for making this podcast possible for a very, very long time. And if you want to try Squarespace out, you can go to Squarespace, set up your free site for 14 days, no credit card needed, and put your pictures in there or your business. You can put contracts, you can schedule appointments, you can take payments. It's super versatile and it has everything you need to build your business. When you love it, go to squarespace.com/Chelsea and use the coupon code Chelsea to get 10% off. Thanks so much.
Bye.